Today's Pokemon Presents brought us two brand new main series Pokemon games to look forward to. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Pokemon Legends Arceus. But there's some things you definitely missed from today's Presents. Let's break them down.
Butterfree, go!
Yo, whoa, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I brought you guys a brand new video today, and today we're gonna break down the 11 things that you guys missed from the brand new Pokemon Presents today that taught us about the new main series games, Pokemon Diamond Pearl remakes, and of course, Pokemon Legends Arceus. I am over the moon, ecstatic, and excited about these new games, and I'm excited to share with you some of the things that you definitely missed and breaking things down a little bit further than our initial thoughts earlier. If you want to see my full reaction, you can check it out right here. Check out that reaction video. We watched the full Presents, but in this video, like I said, we're going to break down the things you might have missed. If you enjoy it, be sure to like the video down below, and make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, as I'm going to have the premier Pokemon content here right on this channel, and you don't want to miss it. Let's not waste any time, let's jump into things. The first thing I want to start off with is the Diamond and Pearl remakes, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. One thing we may have noticed is that the Sinnoh Underground is coming back, as well as the potential for secret bases in the Underground as we see from these screenshots. While it's not confirmed about secret bases, we do know the Underground is returning, and with Wi-Fi connectivity through the Nintendo Switch, it actually could create for a super fun experience for people to play the different mini games and to play the different mining game and all sorts of good stuff. We also see the Palkia and Dialga statue, which was located in the trailer that we saw today, actually resembles the one in the manga. Now in the original Diamond and Pearl games, this Palkia Dialga statue actually kind of looked like both of the legendaries, and this one looks kind of like Dialga, but it also has the plates on it, and it seems to be that same throwback to the original manga art. For those who didn't catch it, these remakes are one-to-one, which means there's probably not going to be any new features or anything super mind-blowingly new. It seems as though they are kind of a direct HD chibi-style remake of the original Diamond and Pearl game, but one thing that's worth noting is Porygon Z was shown in the trailer, and Porygon Z was originally not in the in the Diamond and Pearl decks, but rather in the Platinum decks. So this could mean that we will get the Pokemon Platinum Pokedex as opposed to the regular Diamond and Pearl decks, but again, otherwise, we're looking at it being more or less a one-to-one remake. Further, when we dive into the Japanese logos of these brand new remake games, we can see that there's no teasers for new mechanics, like we saw back with Pokemon Sun and Moon showcasing Z Crystals, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire showcasing the stones that activate the primal forms. It's seeming like we're not going to see any primal forms of Palkia and Dialga in this game, and it seems as though there's not going to be any new groundbreaking features. Perhaps we will see Mega Evolution make a return. That would be pretty awesome. It was in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but at this point, I think we should just not get our hopes up and expect it to be more a one-on-one comparison. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are games that I'm really excited about, and while I was hoping for them to blow it up a little bit more and make it a little bit newer, I could totally understand the perspective. I think it's definitely designed towards a younger audience and allow those younger fans to kind of learn and capture those memories in the Sinnoh region to introduce them to the next game, Pokemon Legends Arceus, which I am super blown away for. Ultimately, I'm excited nevertheless, and I can't wait to jump into Sinnoh multiple times. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think the chibi-style Diamond and Pearl remakes are pretty sweet when all is said and done. I wish there was a little bit more, but I'm not going to complain. Now, the thing that I'm most excited about is the Pokemon open world adventure, Pokemon Legends Arceus. And this is where we get to dive into some really amazing things, all new content, and much, much more. So I hope you guys are ready for it. So looking at Nintendo's post here to just give an overall recap, we see that there's going to be action and RPG elements. You can capture and battle wild Pokemon in a turn-based style, and to catch them, you have to observe their behavior and then sneak up on them and aim your Pokeball. So it is different capture mechanics. Further, this is not about gyms and Pokemon leagues. This is about working with your partner Pokemon to create the first Pokedex in the region. That's something that I think was lost a little bit in the trailer, but exciting to see. Then we take a look at these different starters, and I'll talk a little bit about this later as to why I believe these starters are the case, but Cyndaquil, Rowlet, and Oshawott featured as the 3 Pokemon starters in Legends Arceus. I think it's also really cool to look at these brand new Pokeballs that were made from mostly wood, and steam actually puffs out of the top of them when they're caught. Again, we're looking at a game that is stationed before Sinnoh and actually going in the past, so this is old and it actually poses a lot of questions. Again, we'll talk about here shortly. And then ultimately, the story is centered around Arceus, the god of Pokemon, so there's going to be a lot of questions to answer about what's going to be going down in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now, when we look at those brand new 3 starter choices, Rowlet and Oshawott, and of course Cyndaquil, we ask ourselves, why were those the starter choices? And I think that they're actually based on the Samurai, Archer, and the Warrior. The Samurai being, of course, Samurott, the Archer being, of course, Decidueye, and the Warrior being Typhlosion. And actually, this was brought to my attention by a friend of mine, Fufu. So Sam, thanks for that tweet. I thought that was pretty solid. I think that really plays into this vibe of it being in the past and kind of tying into some of those RPG elements. So again, Samurai, Archer, and Warrior, I think that's why they picked these as the starters. Speaking of the new starters, which starter do you guys plan to choose? Oshawott, Rowlet, or Cyndaquil? Let me know in the comments section below. One interesting question that was brought to me is about fossils. Since we're in the past, are fossil Pokemon no longer needed to be restored? Are they gonna just roam the wild? I think there's a lot of questions about those fossil Pokemon, especially when we think of things like Cranidos and Rampardos, Bastiodon and Shieldon. Will we see new forms for these Pokemon? Will they need to be revived, or will they just exist out in the wild? We've seen starters exist in the wild like Piplup. There's a lot of questions to be answered about how this game actually takes place and what the time period really is. And speaking of the time period, have you noticed that these trainers have some very interesting logos on their sleeves? In fact, these logos actually look very similar to Team Galactic's logo. So now we have to ask ourselves, what's the representation of that? Why do these main characters have these logos on their sleeves that look very much so like Team Galactic? Is there any sort of tie-in to the actual Sinnoh main games that we know of? And does Cyrus have any part in this? As we know that when we're dealing with Diamond and Pearl, we think about space and time. Is it possible that this is a time traveling situation? Is this possible that this is the new world that Cyrus creates after he gets a hold of Giratina? Who even knows, but the theories and possibilities at this point in time are endless, and I'm excited to see what this Team Galactic element has to do with, and if that has any sort of tie-in to the story. This post here from Moxie Boosted calls out the various Wi-Fi opportunities for the different games. Currently, for one of the games, when we look at Pokemon Legends Arceus, it's for one player, it is not a multiplayer experience, and for communication function, it states undecided, which means that there may not be any online connectivity or functionality for Pokemon Legends Arceus. When we look comparatively at the Diamond and Pearl remakes, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, we can see that there's a number of players as one, which is competition / exchange, etc., 2 to 4 people, indicating that you are going to be able to have online connectivity, whether it be through Wi-Fi battles or through the underground or other features, whereas again, Pokemon Legends Arceus does not have that information on the website. Another thing I want to mention is I saw some people complaining about the graphics of Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I feel like it's important to know that this game is most likely a year away. We know it's coming out early next year. They still have a year to fine-tune and develop the game, and I actually remember comparing Sword and Shield trailer screenshots to the actual gameplay and seeing how much they enhanced it. I know we had some complaints about the overall graphics in Sword and Shield, but they did make a lot of changes from the original gameplay trailers to what we finally got in terms of shading and lighting and how these different effects play out in the render engine and how the game actually functions when you have it in your hands. I also want to say on a separate note, I really think there's a super good chance that there's going to be a brand new Nintendo Switch hardware coming out before Pokemon Legends Arceus is released. It makes so much sense that they would line up the release of a Switch Pro or some sort of buffed up Switch for the release of this game, and that could really solve a lot of the problems that people are concerned about. Cerebi.net is quick to it, and we've actually got a full Pokedex here for what to expect in Legends Arceus of the various Pokemon we've seen. We've seen things like Chingling and Bronzor and Starly and Ralts, and it seems like there's going to be a wide variety of Pokemon that we'll be able to explore from. I'm thinking it's obviously not going to be focused entirely on Sinnoh. It could have different Pokemon from different regions that have migrated across. So I'll have these links in the description for sources if you want to dive a little deeper and see all the Pokemon that are already confirmed, with plenty more to come. And one thing I found to be very interesting is when they open up that book at the beginning of the trailer for Pokemon Legends Arceus, there's actually 3 books stacked on top of each other. Could that be a hint towards DLCs for Pokemon Legends Arceus? Will there be other legends for us to track down in the storyline, like Cresselia and Darkrai and Shaman and Manaphy? Or are those books representing something else, like Pokemon Legends Kyurem? Perhaps a different storyline for the Gen 5 games, hopefully many years in the future, but nevertheless, something worthwhile to note. Pokemon does everything with intent, and they don't let things slip through the cracks, and on this situation, there were 3 books stacked there, and I do wonder what those other legendary tales might entail. And lastly, I found this to be quite funny, but it seems as though that the Pokemon people at Game Freak did not follow their own rules for the logo. As we see here, this tweet from Aleph, and they state that they have the Pokemon logo rules, and very clearly that was not followed in the creation of the logo for Pokemon Legends Arceus. There's so much to be excited about in the Pokemon franchise, and I hope you found this video informative, fun, and just downright interesting as we broke down the things that you might have missed from today's Pokemon Presents presentation. I, for one, am just so ecstatic and over the moon for the release of the brand new Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes, and of course, Pokemon Legends Arceus coming early next year. We're gonna have a blast here on this channel, guys, and I'm so thankful and excited to share these moments with you guys. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to hit that like button down below, and do not forget to subscribe with those notifications turned on. We post great Pokemon content every single day, and I'd love to see you again. Thank you for watching this one. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. If you guys enjoyed this breakdown, you should check out my reaction right here to the full presentation. Otherwise, this video is pretty cool too. Subscribe right here, and I'll see you guys next time.